What is the most recent thing you've learned from your kids thus far?
That is really, I know I shouldn't say that it's hard to think about that, but let me think about it for a second.
Yeah.
Because everyone always says there's a lot of pressure. This question has a lot
Mm,
of pressure because people always say, my kids don't learn from me. I learn from my kids, which is
Mm-hmm.
true. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of pressure in the question of what have my kids taught me. So, I mean, the cliche answers would be unconditional love, and
Mm-hmm.
they teach me how to be fun and stuff. I wouldn't say that. They teach me how to stress more and how to handle. You know what? I actually have a great answer.
Mm.
mm.
So they teach me that nothing else matters. So I'll explain it. So this morning on Twitter, I refuse to call it anything else. We spoke about um, the how scary it is to go on your own and share your work and all of those things as a designer because you always feel other people are better than you. So they teach me that those things don't matter. That the most important thing is the kids. Let me explain that. Sorry, there's a kid standing in front of me. Please go. Go.
So fun.
Door, please. Thank you. So sorry. So, um, the most important thing are my kids safe. So, Webflow Conf, San Francisco, all the pressure and I'm tired and this and that from going to Webflow Conf. What do I think of when I'm alone? Are my kids safe? Did they eat
Mm-hmm.
today? Did they do their homework? That is the most important thing. So that's what they teach me. Nothing else matters. Only the little family circle matters.
3, 2, 1. I can hear you smile. 3, 2, 1. Hi, folks.
Hi.
How's it going?
Going well yourself?
Good. Again, this is always a weird question when you ask me that when I've seen you all day.
Okay.
I'm thinking about everyone that's listening right now. They're in their car, they're working out, taking a walk. I hope you're having a wonderful day or night. But welcome back to That One Couples podcast. And in this episode, we talk with one of this year's Webflow Speed Build Challenge judges and Floxy community ambassadors, Carmia Wiedemen. She talks about her 2 wonderful kids, the similarities between being a parent and leading her team, and her experience being on stage at Webflow Conf with Nelson.
I'm so proud of you. That was our sixth take for the intro. You made it through.
Thank you.
You got to get through that uncomfortableness.
My hands are sweaty, but here we are. We did it.
Mom spaghetti. All right. So, just a little disclaimer. I'm still learning what it is to be a podcaster slash somewhat audio engineer noob. And so you may hear some weird echoes or weird volume issues throughout the episode. My apologies. What I have learned is that I shouldn't keep the mics too close to each other. But, anyways, I've learned. Well, enjoy the episode, everyone. And thanks again to Carmia Wiedemen for being our first guest. All right. All right. So you are our first guest.
It's
So
amazing.
thank you so
Yes.
much. And how we want to start this is yeah, what are the name of your kids and what have you learned most recently from your kids?
Okay. So I'll start with the easy ones, their names. So the girl is Mila, and then the boy is Thorin. So, funny story behind the Thorin name, my husband gave me a list of like 50 names, I think, because I said if it's a boy, you can choose. So 50 names, and just to paint the picture, some of the names were Odin, Conan, Crixus or something from some show, Spartacus. Most of the names were from that show, yeah. So Thorin, I chose that one because I'm like, the kids are going to pee in his locker. So Thorin was the best one out of those.
He's gonna what in his locker?
P.
Pee, like bully or something, like pee in his locker. Like, whose name is Thorin? I don't know. This is 11 years ago. Remember that. So it is probably more of The Hobbit. You know that book?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's probably more of a Thorin Oakenshield than like a Thor Marvel situation.
Ah, okay.
Thorin. I think that's such a cool. Both names are beautiful.
Thank you.
It's hard naming a kid. There's so much pressure and requirements, and then there's personal attachments, and then you think about, do we know anybody that has the same name?
Yes. And if you think about it, that's so much power in your hand as a parent. You can name them tablecloth or something. That's all on you. You can do anything.
I mean, celebrities have named their kids like what Kanye West. It's Northwest,
Yeah.
and then Elon Musk. I mean, the most famous kid now, and the AEX A12 dash or
You
something.
memorized it?
I
Wow.
something like that.
Wow.
Named
Yeah.
after a jet plane. Like, yeah, you have. I mean, what was our story? It had to be video game related. It had
You
to
are
be.
hard to please because I want.
Oh, it was for me.
Yeah, because every name I suggested, you're like, nah, trash. And it was what's it? So I loved unisex names. So I like the idea of a girl named Kyle. Can you imagine? She applies for a job application. They bring her in. They're expecting a dude, and walks in as a badass chick named Kyle. Like, I always thought that was funny to me and like, entertaining. But then Nelson's like, no, it needs to be space themed and associated with a video game. And I'm like, great. What are we gonna come up with? Right. So I think we had Leo. I think we had there was. I think we were playing with like Osiris or something.
I remember something with an R if it was going to be a boy.
Oh, Rainer, because
Rainer.
that's a video game name.
From Pokemon.
And then I was on social media, and a friend had talked about her niece Nova. She's like a college friend, and I was like, "What? That's such a beautiful name." And then me being a design nerd, I was looking at the letter forms, and I'm like, "There's 4 letters." And the letters are gorgeous, and then the V and the A sit so nicely together when they're side by side. And then I told Nelson, he's like, "That's it, that's the one," and he started crying, and I'm like, "Okay, done."
No, there's something about the 4-letter names. It's
Right?
yeah.
Okay. So who's the oldest one, Mila or Thorin?
Mila.
Okay.
So 14-year-old girl, and it's hard.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that. But what is the most recent thing you've learned from your kids thus far?
That is really, I know I shouldn't say that it's hard to think about that, but let me think about it for a second.
Yeah.
Because everyone always says there's a lot of pressure. This question has a lot of pressure because people always say, my kids don't learn from me. I learn from my kids, which is
Mhm.
true. But
Mhm.
there's a lot of pressure in the question of what have my kids taught me? So, I mean, the cliche answers would be unconditional love, and
Mhm.
they teach me how to be fun and stuff. I wouldn't say that. They teach me how to stress more and how to handle. You know what? I actually have a great answer.
Mm.
So they teach me that nothing else matters. So I'll explain it. So this morning on Twitter, I refuse to call it anything else. Um, we spoke about um, the how scary it is to go on your own and share your work and all of those things as a designer, because you always feel other people are better than you. So they teach me that those things don't matter, that the most important thing is the kids. Let me explain that. Sorry, there's a kid standing in front of me. Please go. Go.
So fun.
Door, please. Thank you. So sorry. So, um, the most important thing are my kids safe. So Webflow Conf, San Francisco, all the pressure and I'm tired and this and that from going to Webflow Conf. What do I think of when I'm alone? Are my kids safe? Did they eat today? Did they do their homework? That is the most important thing. So that's what they teach me. Nothing else matters. Only the little family circle matters.
Nice.
That gives me the chills because I think we try to control things around our lives and we try to micromanage. And we realize that kids just throw that idea of control out the window because we have to be so flexible as parents. We know how it is. You're like, okay, the kid's going to go to school today. I have good 5 hours to work. And then an hour later, the nurse calls and they're sick. And there goes your entire plan for the day, right?
Correct.
But then it's like works out the door because then you're like, now I'm a mom mode. I need to make sure my kiddos feels good. They're comfortable. Do we need to go to the doctor? All this stuff. So I 100% agree with that. Nothing matters.
Yeah, nothing else matters. Yes, money matters, paying the bills matter, but what is the alternative? Being rich, having a great job, but not having the family, or having the family and being very poor,
Right. It's that question too of wealth over. Yeah, you're rich, but are you happy?
Yeah.
Is your kid set up for success? Are you feeling fulfilled? Even though you're making all this money, kind of question.
Since we already mentioned Elon and his kid, I mean, I saw an article on Rolling Stones. Elon would go when he used to have a house. He would go home to his mansion, and he's all alone. And it's just a big house. He has all the money in the world, but in the end, what does he really have?
lots of billions.
Yeah,
Billions of dollars.
billions of dollars. But are you actually happy?
Yeah, I think that's my answer instead
That's
of
a beautiful answer.
the cliche thing. I'm very much a control freak and a realist. So it's hard for me if they act like kids. So yeah, just everything's unexpected and it's okay.
So let's segue that into your intro. So you're a creative director at Approachable Systems, and Jessica's also a control freak
And a realist.
and a realist.
And I used to be a creative director. And so I feel like I'm staring in a mirror because I was like, Carmina is me. I feel like I could totally get this.
Yeah.
But as a creative director, though, how do you find balance between doing your job, supporting your team, but then also making sure you're present for your family?
Yeah, so I feel like it might all be the same thing. Because so sometimes I will do something and my husband will be like, don't creative direct us around here. So it's like, no, but my biggest thing when they unpack the dishwasher, why are they putting the smaller plates under the bigger plates? Like that's a big deal. Can
It
you
is.
guys just make things easier for everyone? So being a mom, you're guiding people because it's a being in a position where you have people under you. There's a very fine line of telling them or guiding them. So I have had a great example. My boss, he very much guides and teaches versus telling.
Yes.
So I think I'm very lucky in that regard. So we're guiding the kids, we're guiding the husbands and the wives. um,
I need a lot of guidance.
You truly do. Repetitive guidance.
I think you guys should keep a little tally or a clicker of how many times Nelson gets asked, "Are you crying again?" So yeah.
It's it's true because as a person who is leading a team or in this position of coordinating, you can say it really is about guiding because you want to empower them to make the decision themselves versus you telling them what to do because they're never going to learn, right? They're going to depend on you on a constant basis. So
Yes.
and you're not doing them a service, you're actually doing them a disservice. So it's sometimes when I would be with my team, I already know the answer, but then I not question them, but I'm putting the question out of like, what do you think it is? And then having them think through it because then when they make that decision because of your guidance, then that has a sense of ownership, right? Because I made the decision. And then as a good leader, you're like, the coach, you're like, I wanted you to make that call, but you had to figure it out yourself. And that's why when going back to kids, when Nova's doing something and my parents are like, she's going to get hurt. She's going to get hurt. I'm like, this is a learning opportunity. She's going to get hurt and she's going to know exactly not to do it again after she gets hurt. But you're still there. You're not going to let her fall off a bridge, but you're in that sense of, okay, well, she has to figure it out. And I think that could be applied. I remember being a teenager, guys, and you see your parents like, you don't know what you're talking about, Mom. And so I even told my dad, you got to let me fail because that's the only way I'm going to learn. And he's like, fine, I'm going to step back. I'm going to step.
It's very grown up of you to tell him that.
Especially like with, what was I, 16? I felt very grown up. But then I knew in my back of my head, my dad was probably like, you're going to fuck this up. You're totally going to fuck this up and I'm going to pick up the pieces.
Pick up the pieces, right? So here's a very, very good example of this. So I'm not sure about you guys, but my husband and I have complete different parenting styles, right? So the 14-year-old girl, she has this hair dye. It's purple, and we've had it for a while because I'm a firm believer in don't use everything at once. Use a little bit and save some so we can do it again. So she's asked, can I do my whole head purple? I've said no for about a year. I'm like, no, we do little streaks here and there, not the whole head because it's blonde hair and people pay a lot of money for blonde hair and we're keeping our blonde hair. So I come back from Nashville yesterday. I was at a law conference and she comes into the house. What color do you guys think her hair was? Purple.
All of it purple.
Yep, purple. So I go, you colored your hair. And she's like, yeah, Dad said it's okay. So I go, okay. She goes up, Dad comes in. They arrived at the same time, the bus and from work. So I say, so he said yes to her hair color? And he said, I didn't say yes, but I said, fine, you do it and you deal with the consequences because he knew that I was going to say no. So then I looked at him and I said, but that's not really parenting. And he's like, no, it is because she is the one that has to deal with it. But for me, I say, no, we set the rules. That's what you do. And he's more like, no, we pick up the pieces. So yeah, that's the two different things. But yeah, she has purple hair now. So
Is it semi-permanent hair dye or is it?
yes, so that's why I didn't flip out because
Okay.
I looked inside myself and I said, okay, it's going to wash out. It's just hair. Those are the things I had to tell myself because she did something she wasn't supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. So there we go. Back to the first question. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But as parents, you have to make a united decision because, like, when we were kids, if we find a crack in the wall or a loophole in anything, we're going to take advantage of it.
She found all the cracks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are so smart about that.
Now I'm wondering, as teenagers, we don't have a teenager. You have a 14-year-old and 10-year-old. So you're already living the beginning of the teenage years. The hair is just the first part. what what other things have you learned that we should be like warned about from parenting a teenager?
I think you need to stop time, like find a way to stop.
No.
So yeah, I have the 10-year-old, and boys, I don't know, just they don't grow up as fast as girls. So I'm still lucky in that one because we cuddle, we hold hands and stuff. But I don't know. Enjoy the time you have. There's no stopping what's going to happen. But that thing they always talk about, don't be your kid's friend, be the
Mm-hmm.
like
Yeah.
how do you I don't know how you balance that, because you think, okay, if I'm their buddy, they're going to tell me everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you parent if you're the buddy? It's so hard, I don't have the answer.
And you want to be that parent where, like you said, you want them to tell you everything, especially when something's like bothering them, right? You want to make that safe space that a buddy does, where, you know, I need to go to my mom because she's going to know what to do versus like hiding things from you. You'd rather know everything than not know, right?
I feel like there's a parallel with like being a creative director. So I've never been a boss, and both of you are boss women. And you've lived that life. So I feel like when you had your team of three, I think you gave them that safe space that you're talking about to bring up anything, and you were their friend, but you still were the one who made decisions and guided them and said, "Hey, um, here's some things you can work on." I think is there a parallel there?
Yeah, I think it's more of the intention, right? Like that was a huge thing that I really integrated into my team is the intention of my intention is never to hurt your feelings. My intention is to make sure that I am pushing you and making you a better designer and person, and I'm not questioning you for the sake of questioning and being an asshole, right? And it's always coming from a place of love and positivity. So that was huge for me, and they kind of knew when I was casual Jess, and then when I was boss Jess, because my tone would change.
Mm-hmm.
Nelson hears that a lot because he would be listening because we're in the same office, and he would hear me talking, and then he goes, "Oh, you just went serious." I'm like, "Well, yeah, we were talking about a project, and then after we're done the project, then we get back to fucking around and being stupid." But it's that and creating that space of safety that whatever you say isn't going to be judged.
Yeah.
Whatever you say is going to be you're going to be heard, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there is a parallel, but a boss position versus a parent position is totally different in that sense. It's comparing apples to oranges. That sense,
So
Nelson.
something on that. My
Yeah.
husband is from Oklahoma, so he sometimes he calls me sweetie, and I'm like, sweetie, you don't call me sweetie, because I feel like if someone says sweetie, it's like, oh, you turd or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, no sweetie here. Like there are other names. Sweetie just seems like you're walking past someone, you're like, oh, it's okay, sweetie.
Or
I don't know. Am
yeah,
I the only one?
no, it's that one and honey. And if I don't like even like you were saying it to me in a Webflow podcast. You had joked and you called me honey, and because we were on the mic, I was just in my head. I'm like, the fuck you call me honey?
Honey, honey did.
Sweet, honey, sweetie, and honey. I get it, Carmia. No, you're like, who are
Yeah,
you?
no,
What?
sweetie. Say what?
Sorry, Nelson.
It's okay.
Honey,
I was gonna say
shut up!
Okay, honey.
Don't you dare! Carmia's here.
sweetie
Yeah.
pie.
So here's another question though. I feel a lot of times like mother henny to my people that I am in charge with.
Hmm.
Anyone hurts them, I'm like, oh, here I am. That's like my angry
Yeah.
time that I step up. So I don't know, is it because I have kids or not? Just very protective, and for some reason more protective of the women than the men
Yes.
on the
Uh,
team. So yeah.
I, I I'm the same way, and I think for me personally, it was because I never had a boss that looked out for me. And I knew how it felt and like what it was to have like a boss not back you up. So I think it's for me like a trauma thing. So if someone's mean to my team members, oh, I am on it, right?
Yeah.
You just stand your ground and you're just like, no, this is my team. You do not fuck with my team, kind of thing, you know? But yeah, you are essentially a mommy. You are. Who's your mommy? Carmia is your mommy.
No, sweetie, honey, mommy. It's mommy.
That is like such a quotable thing, and that reminds me. I think you had the way you said it, but I really want to dig into the Webflow Conf real quick. And you were a judge, and I was watching you online, and you did such an amazing job. And it was just so fun to watch everyone interact with each other. I wanted to get your insight into that your experience on stage. Like, were you nervous seeing all those people, or
I was terrified. You can ask Nelson. Before the thing, I was like, Nelson. And all he said was, I have your back. Don't worry. I will fill the gaps. Don't worry about it. And I'm like, oh, I know, but for me, I'm not really a video stage liked person. I like to stay away, sort of. Um, I was, to be really honest, and I hope Johnny doesn't listen to this, but I was sort of more starstruck by Johnny. I saw Johnny on State of Flow on YouTube, and I was like, wow, like I really like his answers. I like his questions, really like it. So then sitting next to him on stage, I was like, oh my goodness, it's Johnny. And then the freaking rebrand, I'm like, what? This guy was part of that, you know? So I think that was really cool. Um, Willian was great as well. Um, but terrified. And yeah, I forgot the question because I'm having flashbacks.
you're nervous, but like um okay,
Starstruck.
we starstruck.
I get it. It's Johnny, dude.
Dude,
Yeah.
yeah.
The man, the legend, the hair. Come
The
on
hair, the
now.
swag.
Yeah. And even Nelson looked at him at backstage and he's like, how is your hair always like that? And he's like, I don't know, man. The lady at makeup tried to push the hair down. He's like, no, that's how it goes.
Yeah,
How
they-
dare she? How dare she touch that hair?
the makeup artist said, "Do you want your?" He told me that the makeup artist said, "Do you want your hair like that?" And he's like, "Yeah. What's wrong with it?" You don't touch his brand.
Yeah.
That's his.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his hair.
Yeah.
But I was,
You guys did so well, and I loved your commentary. I was cackling in the office by myself when Ankita put that photo on the gym landing
Yeah.
page, because that was the first thing I saw too. I was like, "There's a shirtless guy in the middle of the
behind
screen."
me on the screen. I know. So it's really funny. So in my head, the thoughts in my head,
Oh.
no, Nelson. So I said the things that I said, which slipped out of my mouth. And then I said one more thing or two more. And then I felt that I shouldn't have said that. You know, I felt, no, that's now enough on these. I don't want to call them sexual jokes, but the jokes about the naked man. Not naked, but you know.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, tone it back like a little bit. Come on, this is like a work thing. And, you know, and then, so I sat there for a second. I'm like, you shouldn't have said that. So I don't know. That was also in my head.
Yep, I get that. I mean, when you're first starting out with any live stream, with any public speaking, you will have those thoughts in your head in real time. Like, what the F am I doing here? What the F did I just say? You're fumbling your words. My intro, I fumbled, and I watched the recording, like, whatever. But with time and practice, you get over that and you just keep going and you'll learn where the boundary is. But you did so well.
Yeah,
And I played off of that. And
Yeah.
it was fun for everyone.
And you gotta think about it. I was thinking about it. So if I was thinking about it too,
Right.
I know someone else was thinking about it.
Yeah. I
I
can't
mean,
tell you how many women like stop me afterwards. They're like, we were also thinking that, you know? So I'm like, okay, I'm not the only one.
I mean, it's
That's
there.
and
Yeah.
that's what I said in the previous podcast. Listen to it, by the way. I said, and Keita knew exactly what she was doing. Props
She
to her
did.
for doing that.
Yeah.
She did. And I was thinking, if I'm ever on that side of the speed build challenge, I would do research into each judge and kind of target exactly like what they like. That's what you need to do.
Strategery right there. That buy-in. That's see, marketing operations right
There you
here.
go.
See
Yes.
that?
Find your
Creative
audience.
director strategy. That's what I'm talking about.
So yeah, that's my strategy if I ever end up somehow there.
Amazing.
Okay, then it's on the record. Everyone, Carmia is doing the speed build challenge.
Okay, I won't blow your previous episode, but there's something you are also accountable for.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh god, I want to vomit again.
Yes. I want to vomit too. Like when I get really nervous, I'm like, oh my goodness, I want to vomit.
So was it hot on stage? What's behind the table? I was thinking that. I was like, what is behind this table that these judges and Nelson are sitting behind?
It was so many screens. There's 5 screens, a timer. And the thing was, the screens were the same. There were 2 on this side and 2 on that side, and a timer in the middle. And I don't know how much I can give away, but the screens were the same. So each time I looked here and then looked there, it's the same thing. I just didn't know what to do. The same thing. I'm like, oh, I don't know where to look. So, but you can't see anything because it's lights. The lights.
Oh, the crowd. You mean the audience?
And that's
No.
what I love about stage lights is that you don't see faces, and so it kind of makes it easier to read the teleprompter. You're just reading to the cameras, and it's like I don't see anyone, and I feel like no one's judging me, So
And then you see the playback, and you're like, oh my god.
Yeah. You're like, holy shit.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. You guys did really well.
Thank you.
Well done.
I just don't know how you do that, Nelson. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it either. I think it makes it easier for me to do it when there's other people on stage, but doing a talk by myself, I've had the opportunity to submit a talk in all 4 years of Webflow Conf, but I'd be too scared to do it because I'm like, no one wants to listen to me, and so to be honest, I'm kind of hiding behind this game show, and it's more complicated than a simple talk. But I'm like, I'm more comfortable there in talking to other people on stage rather than just talking to people. But yeah, next year, at least I'll have you on stage if we ever get on a Webflow Conf stage.
Oh, I'm nervous.
No. I do have a question, Nelson.
Yeah.
You can delete this question if you want. So all the support that you get all the time, have you gotten bad stuff? Like, Nelson, we don't like you. Because everyone likes you. So why are you hiding? Is it because you've had bad feedback?
I'm still trying to have a good relationship with failure.
Okay.
I don't want to fail anyone at any time, but I have to be okay with it happening. Yeah, I don't like seeing people sad. I think that's where Nova gets it from. She hates seeing people sad. She wants everyone to be happy. And she just wants rainbows and unicorns all around her at all times and just people smiling. And this is why I can't read much news, especially if it has to do with kids. I can't listen to podcast news or that I get overly emotional. I mean, I cry a lot. So,
Tally goes up.
yep.
Click.
So yeah, that's it. I just don't want people sad.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Speed Build Challenge, thank you so much for being a judge. You were wonderful.
Are you gonna be back next year?
How honest can I be with my answer?
As honest as you want.
I just wish it wasn't in San Francisco.
I
Agreed.
said that too.
Agreed. I don't know why. I wasn't part of the planning or anything, but it was news to me when Emily said, "Okay, it's going to be in 4 cities." I'm like, "Whoa. That's that's amazing." But my thought is, can it be like Adobe Max where it just travels one city
Yeah, that's what I
each
would like.
year? Because my thought is like, let's do San Francisco, and the next year let's do London, and the next year let's do I don't know,
Seattle. Have
Yeah.
did
Indonesia.
did you go to the first No Code Conf?
Not that one. That is the one where Claudia was the judge, Nelson, with you.
Yes,
Yeah.
remotely.
So, funny story, not funny story, but how I got into this is because I saw her next to you judging the speed build, and I was like, whoa, how do I get in on this?
Mm-hmm.
So I went to floxiescommunity.com. I think that's what it is. And I was like, I'm going to sign up. And then she became my friend. And I'm like, this lady, like, it's so weird. Why is she so friendly, And now I was a judge. How crazy is that?
That's
And
cool.
it's super cool. And man, I say this all the time, but you can have what you want, you know,
Mm-hmm.
dress for the job you want. So it's just crazy. And I'm not um, making less of what it is. There must be a better term for that. But I wanted to be a part of this, and I am a part of it. It's crazy. You can have what you want.
Yeah.
If you want sunshine and the rainbows like Nova, you can have it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do the other stuff. I don't know. That sounds really weird, but that's where I first fell into this. Now it's like 3 years. So yeah, I would like to join next year. Back to your question, absolutely will join, but I just don't want to go back to San Francisco.
Yeah, because in the first No Code Conf, it was a 2-day event,
Yeah.
and the first day was workshops.
Mhm.
I think did Ransagal do a workshop?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ransagal.
he did.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
went in that one. There was like a full blown classrooms, like multiple classrooms, and then the second day was the actual big keynote. And I thought those were fun. So when I went last year with my team, I was kind of expecting the same thing, but it wasn't like that. So it was kind of, I wish there was a little bit more educational kind of sharing of knowledge in these.
So they have
conferences.
those in the other cities.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
there's actually workshops in Chicago, New York, and London. Whereas San Francisco is just the whole
Keynote.
big marketing reveal
Yeah.
of like, hey, by the way, everything has changed.
So yeah, back to what you were saying in the previous episode, how well they did it. We went in the building, we came out, and then there was stuff everywhere. New logo stuff.
That's so
It's
neat.
well done, like to that freaking everyone working together.
Yeah.
That logistics must have been like they have a thing called run of show, and it's a huge document where like who's doing what at what exact time, and that document must have been like miles long. Like
Yeah.
who's putting the temporary tattoos of the new logos on which table, and who's unfurling the logo flag,
Yeah.
the new, and all these little things that just adds more like new era of Webflow feeling.
Just
Yeah,
different
like
touch points. Yeah.
all the social icons, LinkedIn, Twitter, again, Twitter. Um, so yeah, it's crazy. Well done.
I want to go back to how you had mentioned earlier how you creative direct your husband. Do you catch yourself creative directing your kids? Are they creative as well, like you, or are they more logical?
Yeah, so great question, by the way.
Oh,
The husband doesn't listen, so he's so I tell him. So real quick,
guiding. You're guiding.
yes, I do. So I really like decorating the house,
Hmm.
and he keeps quiet most of the time on the decoration. But we recently moved, and he's like, "Can I just have one room to make like my decor?" And I'm like, "But you're colorblind. Like, how? How are you going to do a room if you're colorblind?" But so he left it because pick your battles, right?
Yeah.
And then he actually told me his idea. He's like, I want to make it like New Orleans, like the French Quarter. And I'm like, what? That sounds amazing. You should do that. So, anyways, that's on that one. On the children, yes, they are creative, but very differently. One is extremely abstract, and the other one is insanely technical, like insane. So, yeah, they are creative. Um, yeah,
That's cool. Because it's like then you might have a fine artist, and then you might have
yeah,
then you might have a product designer sometimes.
it's true. Like it's crazy how different their styles are, but also I think they're rebelling, and that's why the styles are different. Because if one doesn't like bananas, the other one will like bananas.
Mm-hmm.
So the foods that they eat, I feel like it's on purpose just to drive me insane. It's like, no, I don't like bananas, you know? And it's like, well, shit, now I have to cut a watermelon. And then the other one is like, I don't eat watermelon. So yeah, I feel like it's on purpose. So one chose abstract and one chose very technical. So yeah.
That's cool. Because I find myself coloring with Nova, and where she's doing her thing, I'm doing mine. She'd be like, "Mommy, draw a hamburger." So I'm drawing a hamburger. I'm like, "Oh, you draw a poodle." And then next thing I'm catching myself like, "Oh, make it pink." Or what if the poodle have like a cool collar on it and it lives like in this mansion? And I'm like, "Wait, let her do her thing."
Yeah. Now I definitely do that, but I know that I catch myself and I go, nope, don't do that. They're not doing marketing for lawyers right now. Don't do that.
Like last year, you know how everyone went to like some folks from the community, not everyone, some folks from the community went back to headquarters and they got to see the educational room where they record.
Yeah.
So were you there, Carmia?
Yeah, I wasn't invited. Like all my friends went.
What?
I
Oh.
know. Everyone went. Maria went. Like Claudia went. Everyone went, and I'm like, I'll just walk around there
You should
in
just.
San Francisco.
Oh, I'm sorry, but it's funny because it was like groups of people that took a tour, and then you saw it. Some people got to take a photo at the desk. So then in my group, I'm standing there, and me and my team are like the last ones to take photos, and I'm standing there on the side watching everyone take photos, and I could tell some of them were nervous, and me being me, I was like, oh, they shouldn't be nervous. So then I started like making them laugh and talking to them, and then next thing you know it, I'm like, oh, put your arm like this, or turn and smile, and I'm trying to make them comfy, and then I see my team laughing at me, and I was like, am I art directing? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, I'll shut the fuck up now.
But that is awesome because you're making people comfortable with jokes.
Mm.
That is the ultimate thing for me is to make people comfortable,
Yeah.
tell your jokes, make you the stupid one so that other people feel more comfortable,
Right.
But
And-
that's hard telling people how to stand for photos because you have to reach inside of them. They don't want to do that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
putting them out, like simple things, like the chin forward or down. It's crazy. It's really hard. So
And I remember like even with other scenarios with art directing, I was doing we're doing headshots for our team, and I have my buddies who are super shy and introverted, and people stiffen up when they're in front of the camera, right? But you want to make them relax and feel like themselves. So like you said, you're cracking jokes, and I remember my team members like smiling all stiff, and I'm being stupid, and she's like, "This is awkward." I'm like, "It's supposed to be awkward."
I mean, yeah, it is. I usually, if I'm taking photos, headshots or something,
Yeah.
I go, listen, this is awkward for me too. Like,
Yeah.
it's not just you. It's also weird for me. So let's just
Yeah.
get through this,
Yeah. And I then sometimes I have to tell my coworkers at the time they're like being stiff, and I know who they are as people, and the whole point was like to get their personality out of these photos. And I leaned over to my coworker and I'm like, Mike, I need you to do one thing for me. And he's like, what is it? I'm like, I need you to just be yourself and just turn it on. And he's like, I got you, Jess. And next thing you know, he's like doing some crazy stuff, and we got really good photos out of it. But you have to be super silly about it. But it's funny, as a creative director, you have to turn it off, especially with your kids. You have to, because you want them to be themselves, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think as a parent, that is your goal, is to find who they are and have them figure it out themselves too, but then embrace it without jumping in and molding them, because fucking society is already molding them as it is, right? Like, you want them to be their authentic selves.
That's a whole other episode.
Yeah, we might need a part 2 of this.
Yeah. But
Write it down, Nelson. Write that topic
it's-
down.
It's really true, because the thing is, when you get to the position of having a team, your standards and your quality is high, you know?
Mhm.
And that's when you have children. They're messy, they're gross, they're little turds, you know?
On
You
purpose too.
right? So you want the highest quality and success for them. And that is wrong and right, you know? So yeah, it's hard.
Yeah,
Parenting is hard.
it is. Well, I think we have to end it now.
I don't want it to end.
I mean, she can. Carmia, would you want to come back for episode 2 later?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Part 2 of Carmia.
Wait, I have one big question.
Okay.
Okay. I was stalking you on Twitter and LinkedIn
Lord.
earlier today. And
It's fine.
Is
I know
it-
you send me a thingy on LinkedIn too. I'm like,
Totally.
oh my gosh, she's looking at my stuff.
No, but I'm just doing client research. That's it.
It's true.
So I'm doing strategy. Is it true you love cocktails?
Okay. Are you ready?
Yeah. What
The
is your
first-
favorite cocktail?
Oh, that's the question. Okay.
Oh, what question were you thinking I was gonna ask?
You're like, do you like cocktails? So the first thing that came in my head, if we want to tie this back to Webflow Conf,
Yeah.
not that we necessarily want to now,
No,
since
let's
you
do
don't
it.
work for Webflow anymore, but when they released this blind thing, in my head, I was like, I'm going to recreate all the cocktails that I've ever taken pictures of inside of Spline. And then I'm going to make a website about it. And it's going to be deconstructed. Like when you go over, no one better use this idea, I swear. But that's what I'm going to do in Spline. I'm going to be the cocktail molding person.
Dude,
And
that's
then it's going to go
cool.
to Webflow because I love cocktails. Favorite cocktail. Okay. What state am I in?
Okay. It's Friday. You've had a long week. You're
Oh
tired.
no, what state in America?
Sorry.
mental state?
Hey, that dictates. That dictates.
Okay.
What state? Okay, we're in California. California.
Oh, okay, I'm in California. I will probably not have a margarita. We're gonna go through each cocktail that I won't have.
Let's go. I'm buckled in. I'm
Okay,
ready.
it's not a margarita. I don't do whiskey. Don't do whiskey or bourbon, unfortunately. It will probably be a cosmopolitan.
Really? You love cosmopolitans, Nelson.
I like fruity drinks.
Yeah, so, but
Good
what I love about the cosmopolitan is it's tart. It's not sweet, even though it's fruity. I mean, a cranberry is extremely bitter. Have you ever chewed on a cranberry?
Yeah,
Like a
yeah.
real. So I think it would have to be a cosmopolitan.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I have so many questions, but I'll probably DM you with more questions
Okay,
about
we'll do a
cocktails.
cocktail episode. But,
We'll do a cocktail thread.
yeah. So, oh my goodness. So sorry, I just moved, as you all know, because I keep saying it to everyone. But we found this place. Oh my goodness, it's in Fort Worth, Texas,
Uh-huh.
and they have these gin drinks. And if you're a gin drinker, you know it needs to come in a big gin glass, and there has to be fruit in it There has to be some sort of aromatic situation in there. So you construct your whole gin. You pick the fruit, you pick the peppercorns or freaking whatever you put in there, and you pick the tonic flavor. Oh my goodness, it is just amazing. So,
It's
yeah.
it's the chipotle of
Yes.
a gin and tonic.
The chipotle gin and tonic, that's fabulous. And it doesn't upset your stomach. So,
Okay, we'll continue this conversation online. Oh my
okay.
god, amazing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry. I'm spinning in my chair because you're speaking about cocktails. Sorry.
see, when you're California and San Diego, we'll need to go get together.
There you go. There you go.
Sorry.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Carmia, for being part of this third episode of That One Couple. Thank you so much. Love learning about you. Love learning about your parenting. I've learned a lot from her. What about you?
Oh, same.
Yeah.
Are we best friends? Did we just become best friends?
I think so. Nelson, honey, you can go.
All right, sweetie. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
That One Couples podcast is a Pixel Geek LLC production and is hosted by Jessica Cruz Abalos and Nelson Abalos Jr. Edited by me, Nelson Abalos Jr. Please rate and subscribe to our show wherever you get your podcasts. And as always, thanks for making the web beautiful together.